I am a Bible-believing Christian. Someone asked me today in the media, they said, it's curious, people are curious, what does Mike Johnson think about any issue under the sun? I said, well, go pick up a Bible off your shelf and read it. That's my worldview.
You heard that right. The Bible doesn't just inform his worldview, it is his worldview.
Oh boy, they're losing their minds. They are losing their minds. We have a Christian as the Speaker of the House. Oh boy, he's gonna take away our freedom. Oh gosh, give me a break.
Republicans unanimously voted in Mike Johnson, an extreme far-right religious ideologue from Louisiana.
This guy's a Christian nationalist.
He is a Christian nationalist.
When you're this much of a religious fanatic, there is no room for real democracy.
He is a very loyal soldier to the far-right movement.
A low-ranking far-right Republican.
Johnson, a hard-right conservative.
A hard-right conservative.
A hard-line conservative.
Far-right, far Christian right.
Far-right extreme.
Extreme. Far-right.
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 Much further to the right.
The reason this guy is Speaker is none of us had the time to read his resume and realize he's David Duke light.
MAGA Mike Johnson, there's a reason why they call him that.
The MAGA faction, the anti-democracy faction, the far right, won.
Does this signal that he and his extreme views represent the Republican Party?
Mike Johnson has an affable personality,
All right.
okay? These are the most dangerous types.
Hardline conservative, but palatable. He will say the craziest things with
He can't be this bad. Stop.
just the most mild-mannered milquetoast tone.
He had, this Ned Flanders vibe.
Jim Jordan with a jacket and a smile.
Jim Jordan with a jacket and a smile.
It was very clear that he was, despite that Ned Flanders vibe, a fire-breathing conservative.
Johnson.
Oh man, mainstream media is out of their minds. You could tell they're reading from the same script. It's so obvious. It's like, yay, Operation Mockingbird at its finest. Am I allowed to say that online? But man, this is crazy. So how bad is the man? He can't be this bad. You can't be this bad. I'm so serious. So I'm gonna listen to his speech because if he is this bad, let's see if we can digest part of his speech and share some thoughts. So we're gonna make this video a little bit longer than normal, so about 23 minutes long. I'm going to keep my comments short. So let's listen to him and examine for ourselves this far-right MAGA Mike. I mean, again, for those of you who don't know, not Joe Biden, Donald Trump did endorse him.
Who are you referring to as Mr. Trump? Thank you very much, and I just want to congratulate Mike Johnson. He will be a great Speaker of the House, and we were very happy to have helped. I've known him for a long time. He's a tremendous leader and a tremendous man. Comes from a wonderful place, Louisiana. He's going to make us all proud. So at this time yesterday, nobody was thinking of Mike, and then we put out the word, and now he's the Speaker of the House. So I want to just thank all of the supporters that I have, and I want to thank all of the supporters that Mike has, and again, he'll be a great speaker. I think you're going to be very proud of him. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
So again, when you see the left melting down over a man, it tells you is either they see fire or they are terrified that they're going to be checked. It's not always because they just hate the individual because he's not good for the country. All right, they're melting down. It's a sign that probably he's a good one. That's what I've learned. Anyway, let's take a listen to his speech and digest part of that and then do some edit and put that video up for you guys. Let's get to the video.
Yeah. We want to, right now, Sandra, go to the House floor for Mike Johnson and his speech.
Yeah, let's listen.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. First, a few words of gratitude. I want to thank Leader Jeffries. I do look forward to working with you on behalf of the American people. I know we see things from very different points of view, but I know that in your heart you love and care about this country and you want to do what's right. And so we're going to find common ground there, all right? I want to express my great thanks for our Speaker Emeritus, Kevin McCarthy. I want to thank my dedicated wife of almost 25 years, Kelly. She's not here. We couldn't get a flight in time. This happened sort of suddenly. But we're going to celebrate soon. She spent the last couple of weeks on her knees in prayer to the Lord, and she's a little worn out. We all are. I want to thank our children, Michael.
I've also heard on Twitter, just that statement alone made some people upset, that she spent a couple nights on her knees in prayer to the Lord. And some people said, what was she doing on her knees? Was she doing something for her husband? If you know what I mean. What? Anyway, why is she praying? Like, whoa. I mean, why are you praying like that? We do a whole lot of that over here, too. So get over it.
The challenge before us is great, but the time for action is now, and I will not let you down. I want to say to the American people, on behalf of all of us here, we hear you. We know the challenges you're facing. We know that there's a lot going on in our country, domestically and abroad, and we are ready to get to work again to solve those problems, and we will. Our mission here is to serve you well, to restore the people's faith in this House, in this great and essential institution. This is a beautiful country. It's the beauty of America that allows a firefighter's kid like me to come here and serve in this sacred chamber where great men and women have served before all of us and strive together to build and then preserve what Lincoln did refer to as the last best hope of man on earth. We stand at a very dangerous time. I'm stating the obvious. We all know that. The world is in turmoil. But a strong America is good for the entire world. We are the beacon of freedom, and we must preserve this grand experiment in self-governance. It still is. We're only 247 years into this grand experiment. We don't know how long it will last, but we do know that the founders told us to take good care of it. I want to tell all my colleagues here what I told the Republicans in that room last night. I don't believe there are any coincidences in a matter like this. I believe that Scripture, the Bible, is very clear. That God is the one that raises up those in authority. He raised up each of you, all of us. And I believe that God has ordained and allowed each one of us to be brought here for this specific moment in this time. This is my belief. I believe that each one of us has a huge responsibility today to use the gifts that God has given us to serve the extraordinary people of this great country, and they deserve it. And to ensure that our republic remains standing as the great beacon of light and hope and freedom in a world that desperately needs it.
Mm-hmm. He's preaching. It is true. America is a light to the rest of the world. At least it was meant to be. We need a strong America. Okay, like the condition of this country either influence or either instigate wars and evil all around the world. If we're doing good, that influence also spreads. Have you ever heard the statement that goes as follows? When America sneezes, the whole world catches a cold. It is true. It's just that what we set the trend over here. Like I can tell you, there are boys in Haiti that are doing things. I'm like, yo, you've been watching Jay-Z, you've been watching Eminem, because we don't do the. Where did you learn that from? From America. Some of them are either starting business, some of them are building things and making things happen because they're watching what's happening in this country and how people are working hard and the examples that we are setting. And people are picking up on that, and definitely it's a powerful thing. So I think with a weak leadership, it's not good like Mr. Joe Biden. So this is the third powerful man, most powerful man in office right now. Mike Johnson, I still have nothing. I don't know where the far right, extreme conservative Christian stuff is all about. Listen, man, it sounds good to me. I'm still enjoying the content. Let's get back to the video.
It was in 1962, that our national motto, "In God We Trust," was adorned above this rostrum. And if you look at the little guide that they give tourists and constituents who come and visit the house, if you turn in there to about page 14 in the middle of that guide, it tells you the history of this. And it says very simply, these words were placed here above us. This motto was placed here as a rebuke of the Cold War era philosophy of the Soviet Union. That philosophy was Marxism and communism, which begins with the premise that there is no God. This is a critical distinction that is also articulated in our nation's birth certificate. We know the language well, the famous second paragraph that we used to have children memorize in school, and they don't do that so often anymore, but they should. G.K. Chesterton was the famous British philosopher and statesman, and he said one time, "America is the only nation in the world that is founded upon a creed." And he said it's listed with almost theological lucidity in the Declaration of Independence. What is our creed? We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, not born equal, created equal. And they are endowed by the same inalienable rights, with the same inalienable rights: life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. That is the creed that has animated our nation since its founding, that has made us the great nation that we are. And we're in a time of extraordinary crisis right now. And the world needs us to be strong. They need us to remember our creed and our admonition. Turmoil and violence have rocked the Middle East and Eastern Europe. We all know it, and tensions continue to build in the Indo-Pacific. The country demands strong leadership of this body, and we must not waver. Our nation's greatest ally in the Middle East is under attack. The first bill that I'm going to bring to this floor in just a little while will be in support of our dear friend Israel, and we're overdue in getting that done. We're going to show not only Israel, but the entire world, that the barbarism of Hamas that we have all seen play out on our television screens is wretched and wrong, and we are going to stand for the good in that conflict. We have a catastrophe at our southern border. The Senate and the White House can no longer ignore the problem. From Texas to New York, wave after wave of illegal migrants are stressing our communities to their breaking points. We know that our streets are being flooded with fentanyl, and all of our communities, children, and even adults are dying from it. The status quo is unacceptable. Inaction is unacceptable, and we must come together and address the broken border. We have to do it. The skyrocketing cost of living is unsustainable, and Americans should not have to worry about how they're going to feed their family every week because they can't afford their groceries anymore. Everybody in this room should think about this. Here's the stats. Prices have increased over 17% in the last 2 years. Credit card interest rates are at the highest level in nearly 3 decades, and mortgage rates are now at a peak we haven't seen since 2001. We have to bring relief to the American people by reining in federal spending and bringing down inflation.
So far, so good. So far, so good. I have one oops, but I'm going to wait till the end of the video. But so far, so good.
The greatest threat to our national security is our nation's debt. And while we've been sitting in this room, that's right, the debt has crossed almost $33.6 trillion. In the time that it's going to take me to deliver this speech, we'll go up another $20 million in debt. It's unsustainable. We have to get the country back on track. Now, we know this is not going to be an easy task, and tough decisions will have to be made. But the consequences, if we don't act now, are unbearable. We have a duty to the American people to explain this to them so they understand it well. And we are going to establish a bipartisan debt commission to begin working on this crisis immediately. We all know that we also live in a time of bitter partisanship. It was noted, and it's been on display here today, right? When our people are losing their faith in government, when they're losing sight of the principles that made us the greatest nation in the history of the world, I think we got to be mindful of that. We're going to fight. We're going to fight vigorously over our core principles because they're at odds a lot of times now in this modern era. We have to sacrifice sometimes our preferences because that's what's necessary in a legislative body. But we will defend our core principles to the end. In his farewell address, thank you. In his farewell address, President Reagan explained the secret of his rapport with people. And I like to paraphrase his explanation all the time. He said, you know, they call me the great communicator, but I really wasn't that. He said, I was just communicating great things. And they're the same great things that have guided our nation since its founding. What are those great things? I call them the 7 core principles of American conservatism, but let me concede to you all, I think it's really quintessentially the core principles of our nation. I boil them down to individual freedom, limited government, the rule of law, peace through strength, fiscal responsibility, free markets, and human dignity. Those are the foundations that made us the extraordinary nation that we are. And you and I today are the stewards of those principles. The things that have made us the freest, most powerful, most successful nation in the history of the world. The things that have made us truly exceptional. In this time of great crisis, it is our duty to work together, as previous generations of great leaders have, to face these great challenges and solve these great problems. I will conclude with this. The job of the Speaker of the House is to serve the whole body, and I will. But I've made a commitment to my colleagues here that this Speaker's office is going to be known for decentralizing the power here. My office is going to be known for members being more involved and having more influence in our processes and all the major decisions that are made here, for predictable processes and regular order. We owe that to the people. That's right. And I want to make this commitment to you, to my colleagues here and on the other side of the aisle as well. My office is going to be known for trust and transparency and accountability, for good stewardship of the people's treasure, for the honesty and integrity that is incumbent upon us, all of us, here in the people's house. Our system of government is not a perfect system. It's got a lot of challenges, but it is still the best one in the world, and we have an opportunity to preserve it. Last thing I'm going to say is a message to the rest of the world. They have been watching this drama play out for a few weeks. We've learned a lot of lessons, but you know what? Through adversity, it makes you stronger. And we want our allies around the world to know that this body of lawmakers is reporting again to our duty stations. Let the enemies of freedom around the world hear us loud and clear. The People's House is back in business. Thank you. Thank you.
So far, so good. Okay. I don't know. The mainstream media is melting down over what? I have no idea. But again, this goes to show that somebody gave them a speech and they need to kind of recite it. That's their job. Okay. Let's get back to it. So this man spoke about nationalism. He spoke about the importance of understanding the value of this country. He also dealt with the issue, the debt crisis in which we are in right now. On point. I mean, Mike Johnson is good. Like, I can't. Next, he also is willing to work with the other side. He's also willing to work with the Democrats, which is good. So he spoke about the 7 core principles, which I did have a chance to write them down. Talk about faith, the value of believing in God. So what's the problem here? What are we melting about? If I were to summarize what this man believes, there it is right there from my summary. Faith, family, and freedom. This is the message of Mike Johnson. Like, if this is evil, You don't know what evil is. Is faith wrong? Is family wrong? Is freedom wrong? Decentralizing power? Oh, this is not bad. This is all good stuff. Now, is he going to carry it out? We don't know. Let's hope and pray that he does. But we have to go with the words, right? For now, until something else happens. I'll tell you what. I like this guy. Not everything about this speech I enjoy. I think the first bill to support Israel, which is going to push us toward another war. Gosh. I don't know if that should have been the first. I'll be honest with you. I think that should have been maybe number 3 or something. Doesn't mean I'm not for Israel, but I think we do have issues of our own that we need to worry about. But, you know, again, so is he going to be another one of those administrative state type Speaker of the House? We don't know. So I'll keep my fingers crossed. I'll keep my hopes up. I'm going to put him on my prayer list. Let's hope not. So the idea that he is a Christian nationalist, he's going to just take us back to the dark age, I don't think so. Not based on my examination. Maybe, I mean, he tells you his faith is crucial. It's not a bad thing. And the people who are calling this bigotry and so on, I'm like, no, you're the bigot. You're the bigot. You're the one who want us to go with whatever it is you want. You're the one who's telling us we can't use these words, we can't say these things. You want to censor our speech. We have to have these thoughts. We have to use the right pronouns. You're the bigot. You're the one who don't accept a thought that is different from yours. But here you are calling him a bigot because he's a Christian, even though he hasn't done anything wrong. If you are LGBT, I don't think Mike Johnson is going to persecute you. Like, that's a false ideology. You know, don't stress yourself over something that's not real. That's not real. That's a phony, fake ideology. And I would say, no, calm down. I wish the Republican Party will learn to work together. Like in the Bible says, Paul says, I appeal to you, brothers, by the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, that all of you agree, and that be no more division among you, that you be united in the same mind, in the same judgment. Now, I can say a lot of different things about that, but the thing is, the Democrats are very much united, even though they're united on the wrong stuff, man. Even though they unite on stuff that I would say, some of you don't disagree. Like, it's hardly any disagreement among that group. And the group, some of them that are in disagreement with the majority, they kick to the curb. I'm not saying this is the right way to do things, but I'm just saying, like, I really hope and pray that the Republican Party learn to work together, be united, and stand for the value of this country. And listen, I don't say it's good to control everything in politics with the Bible. I don't believe that. However, if you get rid of all biblical principles, right, you have a problem. The best way for me to explain it, you see the 10 Commandments. Enforce the last 6 as a Republican. Enforce the last 6. But don't touch the first 4. Don't touch the first 4. If you touch the first 4, you're going to create problems. But the last 6, listen, we need to deal with the crimes in our society, the thefts, the murders. All of that needs to be addressed. All of that need to be uplifted in the party. But please don't touch the first 4 because you're going to create serious havoc and issue in society. We don't want that. That's what I would say. Anyway, I think Mike Johnson is great. I like the guy. Be praying for him. Great guy, nice guy, and can speak a great talker as well. Anyway, share your thought and perspective with me. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one. Bye.